Hello, everybody. I am Hernan, the founder and chief volunteer for Apprentice Worldwide, and I am super excited about this event. One of my favorite subjects in the world, marketing, and not your traditional marketing like people 20 years ago. These are people that are navigating innovation in marketing, and they will share this. But before we do that, I want to tell you a little bit about Apprentice Worldwide. We are an organization founded in 2014 to support young professionals in their career. We started in Miami, Florida, which is where I am based, but we have people now in 53 locations, including Africa, Latin America, Asia, Europe. So we're everywhere. We actually converted into worldwide. We were Apprentice Miami. But this is a great development. People all over the world that are connecting, networking, and learning. If you go to apprenticeworldwide.com/CRP, CRP is their career readiness program where our global interns are going to partake in events. But most importantly, our members are going to be able to participate in these seminars as well. So we're going to talk about, time management. We're going to talk about how to deal with office politics, many, many, many things. We also are going to have several global industry meetings like the ones today, but for technology, for banking, for human resources, for real estate. And then lastly, I want to share with you that we're going to have a country presentation for Chile, where Sebastián and de Baezas will be in that meeting talking about Chile and the wonderful things that are happening there. We're going to talk about in Peru as well. So our Peru team is getting together. And lastly, we're going to have our Africa Showcase, the second Africa Showcase, where Ibrahima, who's here, is going to talk about Ghana and other countries. So you guys are excellently ready to learn about, without moving from your desk, you're going to learn about all these countries from around the world. Well, so without further ado, I want to introduce you to our Academy Director and our Marketing Lead for Global Industry Group, Stephanie Ferreiro. Stephanie, take it away.
Hi everybody, welcome. Thank you for the introduction, Hernan. I couldn't be able to do the work that I do if I didn't have this wonderful team behind me and going ahead of me. Go ahead. I just want to thank everyone for being here. We're going to have a great webinar here we have prepared for you just to enhance your skills when it comes to personal branding. Let me see a little feel from the room. How many of you are actually in marketing? Go ahead, raise your hand, or just let us know. Are you in marketing? Okay. All right. A few of you. How many of you are interested in learning just a little bit to know more about marketing? And perfect. Great. Well, you're in the right place. We have great things planned for you today. And so our main focuses are going to be personal branding, followed by influencer marketing. And I have the honor presenting our wonderful guest speakers, global mentors for Apprentice Worldwide, Flor and Javier. So let me go ahead. So I want to present first is Flor Palazzolo. She's a Hispanic woman with 17 years experience in marketing technology industry, working with some of the most important publishers nationwide. She has started to gain experience in product development, technology, and advertising services in 2017. She co-founded a digital acceleration company to help businesses go through digital transformation. As Chief Business Development Officer, she's established and executed the organization's strategy, identifying target customers, establishing pricing, managing execution of sales strategies, and refining the earned revenue model while helping companies make their business more profitable. She's achieved a 400% growth in revenue in the first 4 years, diverse client profile to reduce risk, and got capital investments to further development the company's strategy. With the pandemic established and so many companies, people are struggling. She did feel that there was a lack of purpose of her daily operations, and thus she founded Civil Mafia, a for-profit organization with the mission of empowering minorities with lack of resources in the professional arena. Civil Mafia supports kids and adults, allocating a 10% of their net profit for their education and their development. She also works as a marketing director for OCC Tech, and where she empowers innovation through new business vehicles special vessels in order to provide better solutions for clients with interest in IT. Further ado, Flor Palazzolo.
Thank you, Steph.
Thank you for being here. Okay, I have a few questions for you to just start off. I just want, if anyone can give her a round of applause to start off. You can raise your emojis if you like. Thank you so much.
On mute.
Thank you. So, Flood, I would like to start off with, what is personal branding to you?
Well, as you said when you were introducing me, my role in business was always related to networking, right? So personal branding for me is a way that we as human beings and professionals have to present ourselves to the world. So it usually, when you talk about personal branding, you talk about only the corporate or executive or professional side of things, but it's very hard to separate the person, the human that it's within you, from the professional one, from that professional side. So for me, it would be an art of trying to show yourself a little bit with considering both things. So basically, the way that you show yourself, it's gonna open doors, it's gonna open opportunities, and it's gonna allow you to create relationships that would actually help you develop in life. And it applies for business and applies for personal life as well.
Most definitely, I can definitely agree to that. We need to be wary of our personal brand. Make it or break it, as they say. Now, talking about continuing this subject, name at least 3 must-haves when setting up your personal brand.
I would say the first, it would be authenticity, because each of us, we have a uniqueness and a personal thing that nobody else has. So myself, I always try to show that part, which is the unique value proposition. As let's say we're products, because we are kind of products. That's the unique value proposition of each of us have. So when you find the thing that you're good at it, and it could be a skill, or it could be like a part of your personality, or it could be something that you are that is not easy to find somewhere else. You have to find a way of empowering that aspect of yourself. So I would say, like, first the authenticity, then the skills, because you have to prepare. As you prepare for life, you prepare for work. Skills are important because you have to be up to whatever you're promising as a professional or as a person. And if you have to keep up with what you promise, you need certain skills, right? So that's the difference between like a salesperson and someone that is actually on the commercial side of things, or like trying to amplify something like an idea or a product or a service, like being prepared on a technical aspect on what you're trying to sell, whatever that is. And on a third, as a third thing, I would say trust, because you can open a lot of doors, you can get a lot of business, you can be your best version of yourself, but if you don't get trust from your teammates, from the people that you're around, from your bosses, from the people that you want to get business from, there's not strong bonds with anyone around you. So like what it's going to make your business scalable and actually the good quality of your relationships is that you're someone that people can trust. And how you get that trust? By being a skilled person that can be prepared and that is up to their promises, and it also is authentic. So everything it's connected.
Wow, definitely. I agree on that. Being reliable and especially having that trust. If you break that trust, it's something to tarn. It's something that you cannot rebuild. That's like they say with a reputation and with our trust. Thank you so much, Flor. I do appreciate that, and they're very valid points when it comes to are
Thank you.
three must-haves. Now, as we continue forward, when we think about marketing, how do you think marketing has evolved throughout the years?
Well, marketing has evolved as we as human beings evolved in every aspect. Meaning like 50 years ago, 80 years ago, you would see an ad on a magazine that would show pregnant women smoking cigarettes, and that would be a cool thing, right? So on a like a as first thing, I would say we as human beings change. There's trends that we follow. There's social of things that change within the time and what is happening in the world. So I would say marketing has to adapt to what is socially happening in the world, but also it doesn't necessarily need to depend as much as it did on people in the past. Now we have a lot of things that could help a marketeer make good decisions. And this that I'm saying, it doesn't mean that we don't need people anymore. It's just like we are adding tools that can make our job not easier, but more accurate, more efficient. For example, we have data that we can use to make right decisions about who to target or where to go or which product to sell or which pricing to give our products or services. We also have a lot of technology tools that would help us to get closer to all those goals that we have. And certainly for me, like this, and this is why I'm talking so much about like the social part, because if marketing evolves, but we as human beings don't adapt to that, then there's no match on what we're going to achieve. Meaning, one thing cannot evolve without the other one. Socially, with the pandemic, for example, and this is a very clear example, we were all in our homes. Everything that we had was, and some people, they didn't even have this, but a Wi-Fi connection and a cell phone and a computer. So our needs, they were still the same, right? Because we want to have relationships, we want to buy food, we wanted to have fun, we wanted to talk with other people, we wanted to study, we wanted to work. Like, the needs were the same. It's just like we were put in a situation where we have to adapt quicker to what was happening already. QR codes, nobody was using QR codes before COVID, and they tried for so many years to get these QR codes going, and then finally now everybody's using QR codes for everything. So good news for the QR codes creator, because they didn't lose as much money, but it's something that goes together.
Well, very great point, especially the QR codes. I actually just came back for a conference, and I told them on the business card, like I thought about the QR code way before the post-pandemic, and now everyone's like, scan here. So definitely, you can see the evolve. I was like, when we think about VHS tapes, and now everything's digital stream for video. Technology is always revolving, like with marketing.
Yeah, and also technology. And this is what I say, like, we always need people, because technology without a strategy and the people that knows how to use it and has the proper way of using it, it's nothing. I mean, what is a computer if you don't press the button to start it? Nothing.
Very, 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 very straightforward to the point, and very true. And leading towards that, do you believe can we ever recover if we have bad branding? As we think about branding, if we have bad branding, do you think we can recover from anything like that?
That's a difficult one, because I have two phrases that I always take with me all the time. One is, there isn't anything, like, there's nothing that you can do that it doesn't communicate. So putting it the other way around, everything you do or don't do communicates something. That is one thing. And the other one, it's for me, there's no second chance for a first impression. So you sometimes, you know, like it happens, like maybe you like someone or and I'm talking about people because people doesn't follow companies, people follows people, you know. So that's why Tesla, for example, has Elon Musk, or Amazon has Jeff Bezos, or like each of these brands, and are huge brands, they have someone that it's communicating like the purpose of the brand, like how the brand it's committing to the socially, and how the brand is promising stuff. So I like to be straightforward with your answer. I don't really think that you can recover from bad branding if you did something like that would really
Like a big no-no.
like impact negatively. Yeah, because I mean, we are in an era that everything is being recorded, everything is being like taped, everything is online saved or somewhere. So even if there's something that you did like a couple of years ago and it's staying there, like someone with a internet connection can get in there and like bring it up. So like that's why I always say, or I said before, like you have to be very honest and authentic and create this trust, because if you create trust, you can make mistakes because you're human beings, right? So human beings, we are allowed to make mistakes and to do things that, I mean, we're human beings, not computers, and even computers fail sometimes. So if you build a good base that is trustworthy, and if you fail and it's not like really a bad failure, I think people will also learn how to forgive or accept that the other, like the person behind is, it's a person, it's a human, and mistakes are okay too.
Oh, that's definitely true. We gotta remember we have that human aspect to remember.
Exactly.
It's like they say, you may be forgiven but never forgotten, right? So,
Totally.
and when we think about it, right? So as we continue our conversation, what is something that we should first focus when reconstructing our own brand? So let's say the brand is a little bit tarnished. What should be the first thing we should focus when reconstructing our own brand?
I would say first for me is the purpose, the goal, what you want to achieve. Then I would say who you want to reach. And then I would say what is my value proposition if I want to reach this, if these are my goals, and if I'm going to talk to these people, you know. So the something of value could be different for you than it could be for me. So you have to be aware of who you're talking to in order to put together a strategy that would actually help you achieve your goals. But you cannot, I would say you cannot start anything before you know what you want to do in a business or in life. Like sometimes like it's not something conscious that you do when you build your personal brand, you know, like because that uniqueness that many of us communicate, that's something natural. That's not something that you build. You cannot be in a position all the time. That would be acting. So I would also say like the unconscious part of this is actually to be, or at least this is what it worked for me. I try all the time to be the best version of myself. So then I don't have to act in a way, in a specific way, you know, that it's not what I am. And if there's like, you're always going to find people that doesn't like you, but it's okay because there's 7 billion people in the world. So there's people that's going to like you and people that is not going to like you.
Exactly. I think like a lot with the society, we're also focused on the amount of likes, the amount of followers. But it comes back to being authentic, just being you. I agree 100%. Thank you for sharing that. Empowering. It's a great reminder. And actually, it goes into a little bit more. Do you believe the likes and followers that we have determine a successful brand?
I would say a brand that is socially responsible. You have to stick to any cost in the world, that you have to do something around it. Like, if we put a Coca-Cola as an example, Coca-Cola, they sell family time. They don't sell sodas or drinks with gas that are not healthy. They sell family time, and that is healthy. So how can you sell something that it's not healthy at all and sell so much? And because that's what they sell. They say they sell Christmas. They sell spend time with your family, share a Coke, be there. So there's something behind that. So that's the purpose that we talk about, right? And talking about evolution, like brands would have to commit every time more and more with what is socially happening. And I don't want to sound too utopic with this, but you can have like a very beautiful brand with a very nice logo, and it's not just what you show. It's not just a picture, or it's not just what, like, the physical part of the brand. Let's say it like that. It's everything. It's the brand personality. It's the brand. It's everything that you do as a person working in a brand that builds towards that. So you have to have a nice image. You cannot have, for example, a presentation with errors, or like that it doesn't have things written properly. You need to be aware of who you are talking to and addressing the messages that you're talking to. And for me, like, I would say the most important thing, besides everything that I just said, is hear what your clients, users, and audience is trying to tell you. Because if we do, for example, digital marketing, we're not just doing it to, like, communicate on one side. Communication, it's bilateral. You need someone to respond to you. You need someone to answer to you. So everything, like every effort that we do is, and again, it's the same in life as in marketing. You're doing it to hear what the other one has to say and put that in practice so you can get better as a brand, with your product, with your services, with the value that you bring to the table. So I put all these examples because for me, it's the easiest way of, thinking towards it. Like, it's a no-brainer. Like, you do this to receive feedback. And with that feedback, you build internally and you make decisions.
Definitely, 100%. That you got to have that feedback, and that's one to take consideration. In order to grow, you need to accept and embrace that feedback, even if it's negative. But it's how you take it, and turn it around in a 360 and just do better and be the best version that you can be. So
exactly.
Definitely. And I sense all this passion. And why do you have a passion for helping others with their brand?
I think this was something that I found out with the years. I never really knew that I was going to be around marketing. I actually wanted to study PR, and before that, I wanted to study to be a vet. So it just happened. Like me myself, I found a very pleasant sensation and joy by helping people in general. But you can't help people in general without working, because you have to pay for the bills, and like you can spend all your time just helping. So I found out that I'm good at it, and I learned because I found interesting how, like, the human part with with how the human behaves and our minds behave. Plus, you can combine that with business, and you get like very good results. And even if you can do it like to help people and to help brands evolve and reach their goals, it's like it's a win-win for my personal self, because I have like this part of me that wants to help, but also I have this part of me that loves to do business and feel the serotonin of winning a business and be happy about it. So I guess it was just a combination of two things that I like to do, and I'm pretty well at doing it. So
wow, an inspiring story, Flor, and for sure I can just sense that vibrantness of passion, and just you never know where your life can lead you, and you definitely
exactly.
have found your pathway. You can bring both worlds together, people and doing that social impact, and making and definitely helping brands to have that freedom
You
to
have to
evolve.
trust. I think you have to trust your path, because you never know from the beginning. When you look back and you connect the dots, as Steve Jobs said once. But if not, it's just like you have a goal in your mind and you're doing the best that you can, and you know that you're giving your 100%, and you're opening doors and you're sitting with people that you think like they're going to inspire you. Maybe there's there's not always a purpose of like having a conversation or an interest behind having a conversation with someone, but for me is amazing just to sit with someone and learn about them, and that for me is always inspiring, because everybody has a different story and you can build from that. So
Thank you so much, Flor. I want to give everyone should give Flor a round of applause for her advice, her
Thank
wisdom.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Anyone have a question for Flor before we go to our next segment?
Question.
Okay, Melissa.
Quickly, I think that like you said, communication, a lot of it has become nonverbal. And I wanted to ask you, I think that people are very overwhelmed, like communication has changed so much, and I'm finding less and less people calling people or using their phones to like have conversations. And I am curious, especially, I think it becomes very overwhelming for us as individuals, because social media used to be like a personal thing that used to use to be creative. Now, then all of a sudden you're being judged professionally for every social media account that you have. So a lot of us do have to completely restructure. And what would you offer advice to people about, maybe, I know technology is evolving, but how can you really keep up, with all of these sites and be authentic, like you are saying is the crucial thing. Like, how can you create comprehension and streamline access to your presence, and for the people that are just stuck with there, because like what I'm seeing is people are picking their platforms. So it's like, you need to communicate with me through Instagram only, right? You need to communicate in this way. And it's like, what do we do? So I'm really curious to get your guidance, or intimidated. Like,
yeah. So I think that is very personal. For example, me myself, I do not curate or like change the way, for example, I show myself in Instagram. And if you get in there, you're gonna see like probably there's a part of my personality that, of course, on the business side you haven't met. But I'm okay with that. Like, I don't care if someone see me like with my family or with my dog or dancing or like just doing jokes, because that's what I am. And also like all this relationship that I built with time allow me to, like be as committed as I am with my job. So the people that I work with, I've been working with them like for so many years that like they actually enjoy, like, and if I'm not doing something, they would even like say, like, if I'm showing up like super serious or like not with my, I guess, my personal self as I usually am, like they start asking like, what's happening to you? Like, what was wrong? Or how do you feel? Because you spend more time working than doing any other thing. So like if you're not having fun or you're not like around people that you enjoy being around, I mean, it's not worth it. But also with all the platforms, like to be very, very straightforward with the answer. As you said, there isn't a specific platform for it. I don't like to my strategy that I use Instagram. I use, and I guess that's it. I like to go to events, meet people, like real people, be there. That's how I met Hernan. Actually, I stopped him at an event and I started talking to him. So just don't lose that, because that's the real world. That's what where life happens. So my recommendation is you can use any platform. Just be there, because when someone looks for you, you have to be there and at least have some presence. But that's not like the thing that is going to define your success. I guess you have to build your relationships en carne y hueso, I would say in Spanish.
I think Anastasia has a question which kind of follows it up, right? Because she's from a younger group of people, and her question here in the chat says, how can I be successful in networking as an introvert? And what you just said right now, it really solidifies it so much, as like human relationships, go to events, right? That's really important. I think that a lot of people are scared. Like, how do you do if you're an introvert? So how would you answer that question?
It's funny because the last event, like the event where I met Hernan, I brought my best friend. She's not in marketing, but she's very introvert. She's in the hospitality industry. And she was like, she was afraid of like just stepping in there. So what I suggest you to do, like always in an event, there's people trying to sell something. There's always people trying to sell something. So the best thing for me to do is just approach someone that it's trying to sell, because they're dying to speak with someone. So it's easier for you, like just, to approach and try to learn what they have to say, like ask questions about their services, their products, or, for people like me, sometimes it's just easier because I say, hi, I'm Flor. You can get a hi back and that's it. It's not easy. You just need to let the word come out of your mouth. But a good strategy, I would say, like go to an event and just try to see who is like on the same like vibe as you are, because you're for sure, Anastasia, you're not going to be the only introvert at the event. There's going to be other introvert people. So you can actually start like by making a joke, like, hey, are you an introvert like me? Or like, hey, what's up with you? Or what are you doing? Or find someone that is doing something and talk to them. Like you just need to spark like the conversation, and you can do it like so many ways. It's just like find the person that you think is going to vibe best with yourself, and the person that you're going to create rapport with him, and then just hi.
Definitely true. Staying and getting out your comfort zone. And I love this. Everyone's going live in the chat here. My introverts are actually being our extroverts right now. I love the energy. Sometimes you got to feed the energy from people to be comfortable. So once again, thank you, Flor. No worries. If you didn't ask your questions, there'll be more time at the end of the webinar for one-on-ones for our questions. Without further ado, I'm going to be presenting our other speaker, wonderful speaker for our event today, Javier Munoz. Let me go ahead and tell you guys a little bit more about him. So Javier Munoz, let me go ahead and put the pin so you guys can see him as well. All right, here we go. So Javier Munoz is a digital entrepreneur with more than 15 years of experience in digital marketing, with a previous background in finance and foreign trade. He worked for two main TV groups in Spain with a 100% digital background. He's been involved and launched a startup with Middle East Group, a leader in Europe for Latin American market, focused on the creation of an ad network with regional coverage. 3 years ago, he co-founded the influencer marketing company Alkimiads, a leading company in transversal knowledge of the American and European continents. A project in continuous evolution made up of employees of different nationalities that is enriched with the multiple nature of the company. Further ado, we have Javier Munoz. Everyone, wait, a warm welcome.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Thank you for having me. Thanks for having me here tonight.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. So you can give us a little bit more, since we all have this dying question of influencer marketing. Can you tell us a little bit more of what influencer marketing is?
I think that influencer marketing, those two words have been put together pretty recently, you know? I don't remember listening to these words 20 years ago. So I think nowadays it's something more related to social media, you know? And to define it, I would say that it's a new way to communicate that brands are using nowadays. And in terms of the, you know, the media plans that the agencies make for their clients, this is a new line in the media plan. You know, before it used to be television, radio, newspaper, then it was internet in general, and now internet has its split between different aspects. You know, and influencer marketing was the last one, or one of the last ones to provide, and also it's a more customizable way to promote a brand rather than the conventional media did in the past or they do nowadays, you know. So I think it has like different benefits, but I would say that brands will have the ability to communicate with different audiences in a different way of what they were doing before. When it came to you know, TV, radio, or other media before, brands would be using the TV host, that kind of character to promote a brand, but it has to be like really narrow. You know, you want to have that much like width in order to communicate the way you want it. Now this has changed because there are millions of people that can communicate in different ways in very different issues. Okay, so this is basically what I think that could be now influencer marketing. But if you think about it, this has existed for years. Like even like 80, 90 years ago, the football players, soccer players, movie stars would be used by brands to communicate something about their products. You know, it can be either in newspapers, on television. So before it was directed to mass media, not including internet. But now it's still going on, and this is more used to social media in general.
No, definitely, Javier. I 100% agree. I've never thought of it actually with TV hosts back then. If you think of, everybody heard of the show Sábado Gigante, you know, Saturday, Don Francisco, you know, people recognize that show with him. He was a grand influencer, and definitely you would tune in on Saturdays and on the weekend. And now like you said, anybody could go with their brand, be on TikTok or be on Twitch or be on all different platforms and start to be an influence for those brands. Now, as we think about it with evolving, is there anything else that you see in the involvement throughout the years with influencer marketing?
Yeah, I think there's been a thorough change with. If I compare it to what happened in, for example, my background was in TV groups before. And yeah, like 10, 12 years ago, maybe a bit more, 15 years ago, I don't remember any influencers existing in this mass media, you know, in the digital side. I remember these TV hosts talking about brands, you know, in the main TV channels that would have to be like paid by the brands with huge investments. You know, it wasn't like now that you can afford a really small influencer for a low price. But before, it was reduced to a few people that could give this kind of messages, and that had to be addressed through the channel, you know, through the media itself. So in order to get that person, you had to connect with people like us on the TV channel and say, hey, I want to have this TV host like creating a message for my brand, you know. So that was pretty difficult, and that was just available for those brands with a lot of money. Now even the smallest brands can use influencers to promote their product. All right, so we've seen an evolution of that from years ago. newspapers, television, and radio being the main ones. And in the last 20, 25 years, then internet arrived. That changed a lot, started to change. These hosts that we had on television started to come to internet as well, but brands wouldn't use them to promote their products. When social media arrived, I remember Ashton Kutcher being the first one using Twitter, one of the main celebrities using Twitter and making some tweets about different things. So I think that was like the starting point of this kind of influencer campaigns in a social media like Twitter. Then you had YouTube came after. These YouTubers came up trying to talk about different products in a different way than the people in Twitter did. So it evolved with these long videos, tutorials that brands started to see that could be useful, but still we could see that in Twitter and in YouTube there was a small, maybe we're talking about thousands, small amount of YouTubers or people in Twitter communicating for a high ticket, for a high price, Then when Facebook arrived, Instagram, that's, in my opinion, exploited completely. That's when millions of influencers searched, and this is the current situation. Throughout the last 6, 7, 8 years, we've seen a huge increase in the amount of influencers out there of all kinds. And for example, in one of our platforms, when we look for influencers, when we try to browse them, just in Instagram, there are like 12 million influencers, about 5,000 followers, which is a lot. And same thing with TikTok. TikTok itself, I think there's over 10 million.
Wow.
It looks like a lot, but I think it's got good things because you can find the right person, the right influencer to talk about your brand. Before, there were just this small amount of people that came from television or from radio, the ones that could spread the message in a massive way, So now this is changed. Now, what I would say is that the Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube have democratized the way influencer marketing is working now.
Great. So that's something that brands that would need to take advantage of for influencer marketing. What do you think they would need to take advantage with all these tools that now we have? Like you mentioned, we have a variety, right? And now we have tools to, have a better selection, as you can say.
Yeah, I think we've been using platforms to look for influencers for the last 9 years. And I have to say that 8 years ago, the information out there wasn't really accurate, but it was already important to filter down and try to get demographics of those influencers to see if they were suitable in different ways for the brands. But now these technologies have evolved. This is completely different. Right now, we have the option to find out the number of bots, the number of users, the followers that have been bought by the influencers. You can know their ethnicity. You can know the engagement they have, of course, the language they speak. You can get a lot of information for, about those influencers. So the good thing is that, for example, one of the problems that we have nowadays is that whenever we say that we are an influencer marketing company, the first thing that comes to their minds, or maybe to your mind, is if I ask you about influencer marketing, the first thing you will think of might be, these YouTubers, these Instagrammers, these people that are doing entertainment, like not many clothes, things like that. But on the other hand, the good thing about having that many influencers out there is that through technologies, you can find the right ones for your brand. We have clients, for example, in Peru that want to have doctors, for example. Some others want to have architects. Some others want to have multicultural influencers in the US to target Ghanaian people in the US. So we can do this based on technology. We can do this because there's a lot of information out there that let us hyper segmentate. It wasn't like that before. So now I think brands have these kind of tools to to help them choose the right ones.
Oh, and that's a great valid point. You might think of influencer marketing a certain way, but you're definitely opening our eyes in a different viewpoint, that there's more to it for sure, and what goes behind the scenes when it comes to influencer marketing. Now, as we think about influencer marketing, when we think about a campaign for influencer marketing, what should it consist of? Any advice there?
Yeah, I think the most important part prior to the campaign is to choose the right influential people for that campaign. In order to do that, you have to use this kind of technologies to get data, and based on numbers, choose the right ones, based on engagement, based on where the audience is located, based on the amount of bots that they might have. You choose the right ones. Then there's a second part, which is the vetting, which is the curation of that influencer. We'll have to do like a manual job in terms of analyzing a little bit more the kind of content they create, because sometimes even if the numbers are good, the content is not that good, and it can be sometimes really bad. So that's when you have a problem with the brand. So you gotta have someone doing this job manually. There's no technology that's gonna take you for granted. It's gonna tell you for granted that this content is gonna be perfect. So that's the first part. The second part is gonna be to have a tailor-made strategy based on the brief that the client is sending to you, and it's aligned also with the influencer. You have to come up with good ideas, with good tactics in order to have a good campaign. It's important to do nowadays. Many clients are requesting not just the names. They don't want to see names. They don't want to see followers. They want to see results. So you gotta be able to promise them what are they gonna get with these influencers and with that strategy. So in terms of branding campaigns or performance campaigns, you should be able to somehow forecast the reach, the views, traffic to the website, even registrations or sales. This is like the last part of the funnel, but you should be able to give that information to the client. Also, once that campaign starts, it's important to manage those influencers properly. So there are some platforms out there that let you manage the influencers just through the platform. But the bigger that influencer is, the more, hang on a minute, I'm running out of battery. The bigger the influencer is, the more problems can give you. So it's important to have a talented and experienced team in order to handle that campaigns, because that could be a nightmare, So that's important. Management is important. And finally, once that campaign has been run, the assets were good, the influencer accomplished everything in time. Sometimes it doesn't happen. It's important to track the campaign, to do the final report. So that's like the whole circle, you end up explaining the client how that influencer performed in terms of how did the post go, and how did the paid media side work. There is also a second part, apart from having influencers posting, which is boosting that content thanks to the Facebook ads tool, Twitter ads tool, TikTok tool, and everything, because that way you're going to be able to know how many people you're going to be able to reach. By combining both the power of influence of an influencer or an influential person, plus the power of hyper-segmentation that these platforms provide.
Wow. So many steps to go into a campaign. And for some of you that are not marketers, when we talk about campaigns, it's our strategies that we have to come with in marketing in order for all of this to go. There's a lot that comes behind just that picture, that concept, that even when we write below a photo or a video, it's a strategy that comes into focus.
Yeah.
And now imagine working with influencers. Definitely, that's something in perspective that, their deadlines, what their quality, that even how many views did you get in what record time? Wow. And when we think about it, what are, in your experience, what are the different types of influencers in social media? Is there like a specific niche or name you would name them?
Okay. Yeah. In our case, for example, that we basically look for any influencer out there. We give an on-demand service. We offer all kind of influential people, you know. So based on the size of that influencers, some companies, some people call them macro influencers, micro influencers, nano influencers, ambassadors. You know, there's like the 3 or 4 levels that are more or less accepted. It's not something that it's standard, but it's somehow accepted. So these are like these 4 levels based on size, you know. But when it comes to what kind of influencer it is, if it's native, digital, or if it's someone that became famous because of being an actor, being a soccer player, or something like that, that is a celebrity that can have, you know, they can ask you for a certain amount of money based on their fame. You know, it's not based on numbers. You might have a big influencer, a digital influencer with huge numbers charging you the same as a celebrity with low following, because that second one has like a higher status, you know. So I would differentiate between those two. The native ones that we have nowadays, like I would say that like these brand ambassadors could be someone with a few hundreds up to maybe a couple of thousand, 3,000. Then you have the micro ones that could go up to, let's say, 100,000 followers. And the next step would be like the macro influencers that, you know, we consider them above 500,000, you know. Followers are not that important, you know. Nobody's talking about followers. That's not important because some people can, you know, you can purchase followers pretty easily, but now these platforms can track that. They can really fast. They can find out if you cheated, you know.
Yeah,
So this is
definitely.
the different levels we have, like celebrities, non-celebrities. You have digital, the different kind of digital people at the moment.
Wow, I never realized, and I bet some of you can also relate to knowing these tiers of like
Yeah.
kind of like of tiers of being famous, right? And how much you can
Yeah.
influence people and seeing authenticity. It's true, even if you're everyday Instagram user. I don't know if anyone else has came across this as well. Of someone saying, "Yeah, you want more followers," you know, like an ad. It's so easy to click, and I'm glad at least we have resources to see those tools to verify. And
Yeah, when
so,
even with these celebrities,
mhm,
there are levels as well. Of course, when I said celebrities, I'm talking about not native people, you know, not native Instagrammers or YouTubers. Maybe it can be a football player, but Cristiano Ronaldo is not going to charge the same as another football player that maybe can be somehow influential, but plays in a lower division team, like in a lower division on a other kind of team. You know, so there are
very,
all kinds of there, different tiers.
yeah, very valid points when we come to see that with the tiers and distinguishing, right? Um, w- and so after looking at all that, the numbers, do they have bots? You know, how's their content? How do you select which influencers you want to work with at the end of the day?
Okay. Yeah. As I said before, nowadays we have these tools that help us a lot, and it depends on the campaign. You know, we have clients that want a nationwide campaign here in the US or in Guatemala or in Italy, and you know, we can filter by country. That's pretty straightforward. It's not really difficult to find them. When on the other hand, you have other clients that just want to have influencers from a certain city. You know, for example, we just had a meeting with someone from Vancouver for a burger shop over there, a burger restaurant, and they just want to have influencers from Vancouver. So we gotta segmentate really well, and that's another kind of influencer. So when it comes to how to choose them, is based on numbers, based on that segmentation criteria I mentioned before: followers, engagement, not followers, engagement, language, ethnicity, you know, some other aspects. And based on that, we'll get a big amount of influencers, like lists of them. Once we have that, then we'll start vetting them and check the content to see if it's all right. Once we have that, then we can suggest that to a client. Otherwise, if you don't analyze the content properly, then you can have problems. You can have problems because you don't know.
Yeah, definitely, Javier. Thank you for recapping, and it's important. And like this ties in definitely with Flor, with personal branding, the authenticity, right? How are we going to connect with an audience? A lot of people want authentic, true people connecting with us. You don't want to see someone like with a fake brand, and and then you see them down the street and they're like a completely different person, right? Unless they stay true to their branding and what they stand for. And this has been a really great insight when seeing with influencer marketing. Definitely have opened my eyes. I want to open it up for questions. I'll have one person for one question for Javier at the moment. Sebastian, you have a question?
Yes. Hey, thank you very much for the time. I really like what the three of you put together. So thank you for everyone. Okay. Javier, Flor, I heard here personal branding and all of that, and also marketing strategies. And for Javier, do you see a future where people will leverage these marketing strategies for their personal branding, not like in an influencer level, but more like in like you're entering a new market, like find a new job, or different stuff that it's hard to pass some blockage that are now there, and maybe through marketing or different influence you can reach these people more easily. I don't know. I'm wondering in the future of personal branding. I wanted to ask what's your opinion, Flor and Javier, if you can a little bit.
Sabi, do you want to answer, or do you want me to go first?
No, what I can tell you regarding this is that, for example, from my point of view, if you're asking how can people take advantage about, for example, in this case, influencer marketing, about looking for job opportunities and developing to other markets and so on, I would say that the important thing about this field is that you can get a lot of information out there. There's many experts in different fields that can give you the right advice for whatever you need. For example, right now I'm interested in some areas of real estate, and I found that kind of information that I require in a certain aspect in one influencer I met here in Miami, for example. He's giving me the information I need in order to make some decisions. Probably I'm not going to use this influencer to make my final decision, but I'm getting informed of important aspects in order to make my decision. So this is something you can do with many different fields. If, for example, you're looking for job opportunities, there's going to be influential people somewhere, maybe in LinkedIn, maybe in Twitter, maybe in other social media, that can give you some hints about how to attack the market or how to explore different opportunities in each field.
Thank you.
I would also add to that that I don't believe it's something for the future. I believe that it's something that it's already happening because we already have the tools. The thing about the future is that every time we're going to be learning on how to better use those tools. But I'm going to put a quick short example to you. When I decided to move to the United States 10 years ago, I knew that I was coming to Miami. I knew that I wanted to do advertising because I just finished school. And I knew that this tool that was called LinkedIn, that it was pretty new at the moment, it would help me to reach people that I wanted to reach. So I have a goal, I have a purpose, and I have my target audience. So I started, I swear you, I filtered LinkedIn on Miami professional advertisement people. And I started to write emails to every, LinkedIn messages to everyone. And at that moment, it wasn't limited as it is right now. So I wrote 80, 90, 100, I can't remember, but many of them, they answered me. And the fun part of that is when I arrived to the United States, I already have 5 to 6 meetings already set it up with them. And the fun fact is that some of them actually hire me later on to work with them. And that was like change of country, change of city. I had non-experience in advertising because I was just finished school. So I was building my marketing, my personal marketing brand and a personal brand, and I was actually doing a marketing campaign for myself. So that started there, but continue when I sat here with people and I arrived on time and I showed myself as I wanted to be seen. And of course, my first boss here, he told me, I don't know what I'm going to hire you for, but I know you're going to be valuable. So I'm going to hire you. And he hired me, and I didn't know anything about what the business was doing. So that's when I started learning digital marketing. So that's the best example I can give you. So it's happening already. We just need to know that those tools are there and we have to use them.
No, very good to put an example, because like people would like to understand how they can do it, we have a lot of people from all around the world here in Apprentice. So this is really cool. Thank you.
Thank you, Sebastian, for your question, and Javier and Flor, thank you so much. Let me just ask one more question for them both, and then we'll open it up for everyone, because I know everyone's dying to have their questions. One last one. Why do you think your social impact, what do you think is your social impact responsibility is? This goes for both of you, both Flor and Javier. What do you think your social impact responsibility is?
Okay, in our case, there is a new project that we are launching at the moment, which is called Alkimiads Social, which is something somehow related to social causes. We are not here just to earn money, but we're trying to help in the different countries where we are working at the moment. Many of those countries are in Latin America. This is where most of the campaigns we have are. And also our team members. We have our team spread through different countries like Colombia, Mexico, Venezuela. And we have the idea to use those influencers that we get in touch with to help somehow to some of the causes that we are gonna be having in the company, right? So we have like different ideas to implement right now. One is to donate part of the earnings of the company towards these causes that we are going to evaluate in different countries, and the other one is to somehow convince those influencers that we are paying for some promotions to help us along the way whenever we have a social campaign going on, so they can help us spread the message.
Wonderful. Really impactful, not just in the local communities, but a global one. Sorry to interrupt, Flor. Go ahead.
No, I think my connection is unstable. Can you hear me well?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, okay, perfect. I would say, well, you said it at the beginning when you were introducing me, my company, that it's Civil Mafia. We actually created the company to bring to the world a mafia that does good, a mafia that organizes to do good. Actually, when we help as human beings, we help with the time that it's the time that we have remnant. And when we help with money, we help with the money that we are not using. And when we help with the energy, is the energy that it's remnant also. So the company, and what I wanted to do is just make it my main goal, as I said before, like try to combine the fact that I know how to make money and that I know how to make business and help brands with the purpose of actually helping people. So we at Civil Mafia, we donate 10% of our sales to all these ONGs and nonprofits, but we also give our time, which is something very important. So I believe that's it. So that's it.
Definitely great to know that, and definitely social responsibility. We got to give back, right? In the forms that we can, either through our skills or connecting with people from around the world, and it's definitely a value. So now we have our audience, our great audience tonight. Thank you for staying with us so they almost the end. Melissa, you had a question, and then if anybody else, you feel free to put in the chat, and we'll go from there. Or unmute yourself.
I have a two-pronged question, but the first is really there's a lot of crime and stuff now online, cybersecurity problems and risks associated with this across the board. I think every industry professional, like there's a real big demand. All CEOs need these kind of professionals, and we as humans, how can you mitigate risk that occurs in these platforms? I don't know if you all are aware, but there was a teenager that hacked Twitter. There's a documentary that came out. It's a 16-year-old in Florida, and he was able to like get into Jeff Bezos' account and all of these people, and and then with Instagram, like I knew somebody that does digital media for an influencer, and she's an adult specific entertainment, and her entire account was like removed, and she lost like hundreds of millions of followers because of something that was considered like lewd or too much of showing, like graphically stuff. And so how can you, when you're dealing with these kind of companies and brands, mitigate risk from like those kind of situations? Like, how can you protect your clients and people on that? Like, do you give training to the influencers or something like that? Because I've seen instances where they take their accounts and they steal all their money and all of this stuff, right? So in there, what do you all recommend is the first part question. Go ahead.
Well, this is not something we've seen in any of our campaigns, but what I can tell you is that this kind of risks is something that should be controlled by the social media. Facebook itself should be the one trying to control that kind of piracy. But when it comes to us, whenever we are hired by a company to to get an influencer to talk about them, what we usually do is in order to protect the brand, we sign contracts that somehow cover the clients against certain problems. For example, we had one issue in a campaign with Colgate years ago about one of the influencers we hired that had like 3 million followers at that time, and she made some comments about the gay community in a despective way. So she posted the content, and she didn't accomplish part of the she broke the contract somehow, because Colgate is really strict in terms of the things that you say have to be approved by them. So that influencer posted the content without sending it to us first, and with this kind of comments. So based on the contract, we went back to that person, to that influencer, and she canceled the post. And we never had a campaign with them anymore. Then we had a problem with her agency because they didn't want to give the money back and everything. So it was a problem. But thanks to the contract, we were able to somehow solve the situation in as much as we could. Because when it comes to piracy, like someone getting in the influencer's account and deleting it, there's not something we can do on our site.
That makes a lot of sense.
Great aspect to keep in consideration. Anybody else have a question, or Flo, do you have a comment on that?
Well, I had some experience on the cybersecurity side because I work also for a tech company, so there's a lot of tools and hardware and software vendors that are actually dedicated specifically to make sure that those things doesn't happen. But for instance, Facebook, Instagram, they all outsource their security measures, because they're still like, their companies, they're so big that, I mean, they will have to develop like a new product itself, you know, to just to make that work. There's automation things that you can do for cybersecurity. There's authenticators. There's a lot of things, but at the end of the day, each company, as Javi said, each company has to own their own strategy in terms of Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, like in what's happening around that arena, like in their own like environment. So it's just getting it, like taking it serious, because there's like a lot of stuff happening with that. And it's a very good topic to bring in, Alyssa. But yeah, they're not like responsive, like still like responsibly enough, because they built monsters already. Like those companies are huge. So like, and they have like so much information and people and accesses and everything. Like, just think someone leaves the company, like they work on Facebook, they leave the company, and then you have to remove all the accesses, like the information, the assets and everything. So it's very hard to trace.
That makes a sense, because how do you separate, you know, that? I know you're going to leave, Stephanie, but I really have this question that I think everybody's very interested in, which is payment structure. I'm very curious, not only how you determine, like I know with real estate, it's like this percentage and stuff like that, but how does it work for your firms, like in terms of that? And then what is the payments for somebody depending on their influence that somebody can make by doing this kind of stuff? Like how can people make a living financially? What's the payment structure like in a world of crazy marketing?
Yeah, well, I think it, as I said before, it depends on the size of that influencer. When it comes to native people, nano, micro, macro, and then like the biggest ones over millions, there is somehow like different tiers, different levels of money that is paid to them. You know, usually an influencer that has 1 million followers in Mexico, for example, is gonna get paid more or less the same as someone from Mexico of the same amount. There's not something standard, but they all have their own quotes. You know, it's not like on television or on radio that the quotes are standard. It's like, this is the cost of the spot, this is the cost of this other format, blah, blah, blah. So each influencer is setting their own pricing, you know. So more or less we can say that we can somehow forecast how much an influencer of 1 million followers is going to charge to us. But when it comes to a celebrity, the price can vary a lot. You know, it's not the same thing to get an influencer, someone who is famous here in Miami, he's an actor from Miami and he's just known in Miami, than hiring Sylvester Stallone. You can imagine the difference in pricing of a post from Sylvester Stallone and the other actor. The price, how much is the price? Whatever they decide. When it's someone who is famous for something or is dedicated to a certain sport, the pricing is going to be up to them. Same thing with the digital, but in digital, we know more or less that the tiers are going to be kind of certain. But when it's someone that has a profession and is not an influencer, the price is whatever they want. So it's all the time we have to negotiate. Have all kind of budgets, you know.
Interesting.
Some others will accept product in exchange, you know. They won't charge for that, you know. But we're talking about the smaller ones, the smallest influencers, like 5,000 followers, 10,000 followers. Probably they're going to be willing to make some posts and exchange it for, shoes, whatever you want, clothes, things like that. But when they have more followers, trust me, they're going to charge you. How much? Whatever they want. One thing is that. The other thing is, are we willing to pay that? Let's see. It's a negotiation.
Thank you. I appreciate both of y'all. Thank you, Stephanie. I really enjoyed this.
No worries. Thank you. Anyone else has one last question? No? Okay. I appreciate everyone for your time, especially for our speakers, Javier, Flor. Round of applause once again. We really, really appreciate you both so much. We've learned so much in this segment, in this webinar. We hope to bring another one. We'll let you know for another workshop because we have something pending we need to cover today. Just these interviews were so good. And great questions from the audience. We appreciate you. I did share in the link our academy. We do have digital marketing resources and much more. And let your friends know that personal branding blueprint book that we have, you get 15% off for those in the public who attended. But again, Apprentice Worldwide members, guess what? The resources are free to you. So just send me a message so I can give you your personal code so you can get your access to these great resources that we have. And Hernan's always supplying us with great resources, brand new book every 2 courses, either audio. If you're more of an audio learner or visual, we have those resources. And again, the best resources to actually learn from a conversation is if you're not a reader of books, then and you learn by talking to other people. Well, this is why we have Apprentice Worldwide Connect. Find each other on LinkedIn, set up some tea time. That's actually how me and Flo connected. We started conversations and look where we're at today. And Flo's just an amazing person. Getting to know her, same as Javier, connection with Hernan, little by little getting to know each other, and now we're all here together hosting a marketing webinar. So the power of getting to know each other, this network. Further ado, I don't know, Hernan, do you have any final words? Or from our speakers, any final words for tonight?
I think the only thing I would say is Javier, Flor, I love you guys. Thank you for what you do every day to help us in our mission to help these young professionals. Everything that we do for our members is free, but we would love for people, if they have it in their heart, to donate. You go to paypal.me/Apprentice Worldwide, and that can help us put more seminars, live seminars. Whatever you feel like donating is good. Most importantly, just know that if you need influencer marketing, you go to Javier. If you need digital marketing, you go to Flor, right? These are not only our mentors, but these are people that are dedicating out their time, and we support them by promoting whatever it is that they're doing and sending the business to them, right? This is our network. Like, this is the most important thing that I want everybody here to know. We have people around the world that do things for us, but we have in our network experts, right? And why are we going to go to third parties when we can help the people that are helping us? So please take the time and connect with Flor, Javier, and the people that speak in this event. And just if you have a campaign that you need to promote your business, consider them first. That's really what I want to give. And again, we don't stop. We do this every day of our lives. We help people out, but these people make a living. This is what they do for a living, right? So make sure that whenever you think about marketing, think about our people first. Okay.
Thank you, Hernan. Well, thank you everyone for tonight. Once again, thank you again, Javier and Flor.
Hello.
Have a wonderful night, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for having us.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Good night.
Bye. Have a good day.
Good night.
Bye-bye. Take care.